Okay, here we go. Welcome everyone to Chatting with Patty. And this episode, we are talking about alignment, postural alignment. And my guest today is Vered Hayoun. She has been in my life for, 35 years. We just checked that today, made sure that that was correct because I kind of stopped counting after 30. But we've both been dancers for most of our lives, and so we've been connected at the hip for many years. She's also AKA known as my wifey. But truthfully, more importantly, what Vered has been able to provide me because of my long career in dancing and competing is every time I have certain physical ailments, because I push my body, in hard, difficult ways with my career, she's always been there whenever I have a knee problem or a shoulder problem. I mean, she literally gets on Skype with me no matter where I am, does this 3D pictures, checks out what's going on, gives me a menu on how to fix it. And within literally a few days, I'm already, the pain is regressing and I can actually continue working and dancing as hard as I do. So she's been a lifesaver for me. And I thought many people need to know her for that reason. So I want to welcome you, and Vered, thank you so much for coming in and helping everybody. I do believe you have an incredible amount of knowledge that's going to help everybody out. And for those of you who couldn't make it today, you will get this recording sent to you. And at the end, we're going to give you an option to how to reach Vered if you have more questions. And also, if you have questions along the way, put them in on the chat, or a few times Vered will check in and make sure, to ask you all if you have questions. So to everyone's, here we are. Vered, take it away. The first thing I do want to ask you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. I really do. It's really nice to be here, especially with you. Yeah, these are fun to do, but doing it with you is that much better.
Good. So my first question is, your type of therapy is always interestingly different from what I hear from others, but I want you to perhaps define for us, what does postural alignment therapy even mean?
Okay, so if you could just everybody put their hands up to anybody who has already done any kind of therapy, just raise your hand so I could kind of take a look. Okay, so mostly everybody has done some type of therapy. So where postural alignment therapy differs from, and every therapy, just let me do this disclaimer from the beginning, everything is good. It's just everything has a different approach. And the approach we have is a little bit more of a holistic approach where we look at the body as a whole. So very often there'll be a lot of shoulder pain, and you go to therapy and they address that shoulder and they address that shoulder, and you go back and you go week after week. And some people actually have like a therapist forever and they go there weekly. Whereas when we look at the body, we understand that very often where the pain lies is not where the problem lies. So very often it's just a symptom of a deeper cause. And I'll give you a little bit of an understanding of how the body is built. If you could imagine an onion and the different layers in an onion, and all those different layers go quite deep till you get to that heart of an onion. And so whenever we have any kind of pain in the body, we're designed so magnificently, our brain knows in an instasecond, we don't even know it's happening, but in an instasecond, it's going to shift. It's going to create a little bit of a compensation, or even deeper when what we call dysfunctions, in order to take us out of pain. So very often we don't even know we have a problem till all of a sudden it's this radiating deep pain, and you're like, oh, where did this come from? And sometimes we say, oh, it's because I was bending over and I was like vacuuming, or I went to reach for that, or I did a dip in a dance, or I did a spin, and really we've evolved thousands of years. That doesn't make any sense. We're actually not so fragile. So injuries, we say, are kind of waiting to happen. And pain is just a signal to go inwards. Any kind of pain, even if you're working on an emotional level or any type of level, pain, anything that causes us pain, is the way our body talks to us. It doesn't have a language to go, hey, yo, stop what you're doing. This is not good. You're twisted to one side. You're always using your left side. You're always standing on your right. It doesn't have that language. So it gives us a pain signal. And then that registers in the brain, and then we start looking at it. So to go back to your question, how we look at the body is not as a symptom of where the pain is. We want to look at all the joints. So when people come into the clinic or when I'm online with them, what I do is I analyze their bodies visually. I never manipulate. We look at all the joints, the shoulders, the hips, the knees, and the ankles. Just like in a house, if any of you are into, I mean, it's pretty basic, but every house has a foundation, and then there are
Hello, Verid.
in perfect alignment.
You froze for a moment there, Verid.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so you might we got the house as a foundation.
Okay. It's because if I do too much movement, yeah, stop moving. So the house is a foundation. So there are beams in a home, and those beams, if they're not aligned, the house will fall. So is it with our body and the joints. So if things are rotated or too tight or too loose, we tend to have injuries. So everything that we do on our right side, we should be able to do on our left side. And like I posted a little video of me yesterday, not so elegant, but I was cleaning my toilet with my left hand. Why? To really just engage that whole part of our body. And that's like an awareness that I would love to leave you with. Like, that is really one of the most important things. Even if you never do a session with me, if you could just understand that you should be, if you're a righty, take your glass of water with your left hand, switch your mouse over to the left side. Notice, do you turn your head more to right, more to left? Where do you easily look? All of these things happen obviously through education, but awareness, when we put on these kind of glasses to notice, hey, where do I usually stand? Am I somebody that sits on my right hip all the time? Because we have to ask ourselves the questions. If any of you over here, and you could answer me in the chat, if any of you have any injuries right now on the left side or on the right side, we want to ask, like, why one side? Is one weaker? No. Basically, our body was born equally. So what happened is, what we develop a sort of dominant side, the side that we use more often, the side that we stand on, the side that we sleep on. And so that tends to lead to injuries and compensations. So does this make sense so far to everybody?
Yeah.
Thumbs up?
Here I am saying, yeah, but and I just want to add to that note,
Sure.
because since you told me that years ago, there's a couple of things that happened. One, I started to realize that just within my dance career, everything is one-sided. I tend to always settle back on the right hip, less on the left, because that's always the one going back. When I'm in closed position, most of the time it's to the left. So suddenly you start to realize, oh my God, I'm up. So then, then when I realized, I took it a step further, and I was outside shoveling, and I noticed I kept shoveling on the same side, and then I had to switch it. So I don't always remember. So conversations like this remind me of that. But I sometimes try to share that with students, because they realize, oh my gosh, I could do it on this hip, but not on this one. I said, part of it is the design of the dance. It's always strengthening one side and making one hip rotate more than the other, because of the way it's designed, not even to any fault of you. So when you do something repeatedly over. So I'm glad you mentioned that, but I remember that was big for me, because I started to become more, well, I used to get less upset. One is you get less frustrated, because I'm like, what the heck's wrong? Why am I always, and then you realize, oh, I tend to be dominant on one side. I knew that intellectually, but I didn't realize how often it's affecting me in my dancing, from when I write to when I get out of the car to when I pick up. When you first told me that, I noticed it everywhere.
Right.
Like that I was really always dominant, and then that would affect the other side, and so on. So yeah.
Right. So everybody, even right now, you can notice, where do you feel more weight, on your right butt cheek or your left butt cheek? Is one leg crossed over? Is the other leg crossed over? You can see yourself in an actual picture. Where does your head slightly tilted? I can see tilts in heads right now, like a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a slight rotation. These are all compensations that we do. These are all things we don't even notice them. We're doing them all day long. And if I could just kind of segue into today's day and age where we're on devices all day long. So this is where most of our postures are. And for those of you who work in offices, which I work with people who, you know, obviously are on a computer, you're not going to change your whole career, just like Patty's not going to change her dance career, right? So it's how do I go back home and have the proper skills to realign? I also jump up and down and I work out and I teach and all these different things. And I must, as much as I know with posture, I have to also realign every day, bring things back into a neutral position. So the posture that we're seeing a lot of right now is this position, because we're always or right. So while we love technology and we love all these devices, we want to have this awareness. So I could kind of give you a little bit of awareness right now. If you put both your feet flat on the floor, everybody could just kind of, since we're sitting, we can just put our feet flat on the floor and bring your bodies to the front of your chair so that your butt is at the front of the chair. You're not sitting back into your chair. Your butt is at the front of the chair. So now when your feet are straight, what you want to look at, take a look down at your feet, look at the outside edge of your feet. If you had a ruler there, would it align straight with your feet? Or are your feet slightly turned out like so, or one rotated in, or whatever funky stuff? So we want it, you could actually put a book on the floor, and I do that to make people aware. You can actually put something down because we are visual people and tactile. Put it down on the floor and then align your foot with that, the outside edge. And you may feel that that's inward, but that is actually straight, because if you chop off your toes, you'd have a perfect rectangle because it's our toes that are angled. And so sometimes our feet fall in that way. So that's where your feet should be. They should be directly under your knees, not behind. Notice if you're somebody who pulls your feet behind, I see that position all the time. So people are sitting all day long with their knees way ahead of their ankles. And what that does is shear your knee. So you're like second by second destroying your knee joint. So you want to keep your feet, your ankles in line with your knee joint, and then take your shoulders and shift them over your hips. So are you slightly hinged forward like so? And it's like, it's a micro shift. But if you're in this position all the time, you're tightening your hips and you want to bring those shoulders back. Your whole upper body shift back. So what proper posture is not, if I could just kind of remove a little bit of a myth that a lot of people, this is not proper posture. So getting your shoulders back and like, you know, like mommy told you, sit straight at the table and you squeeze your shoulder back. This is not proper posture. That creates a lot of tension in the shoulders. It creates a thrusted chest, an overextended rib cage. And then when our rib cage is way extended, we can't have a very nice abdominal wall because you're always stretching the front of your tummy, of your front of the body. And so when I stretch the front of the body, I'll just ask you all, maybe I'll stand up so you can see.
Yeah.
So this is going to be a question. You could maybe unmute them. So if I stretch the front of the body and it's long, what happens to the back?
It's
tightening.
It's tightening.
Yeah.
It's shorter. Yes.
It's shorter, yeah, tightening. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So whatever I lengthen, the other part, so as we want to balance things out from left to right, we also have to have an awareness of front to back. And so we can actually now stand up. Maybe everybody wants to stand up and kind of feel something interesting. And maybe I'll just put this down a little bit.
You want me to keep them unmuted, Vered, or?
Yeah, up to you. I mean, it's fine. They can mute themselves and then they can have if they have a question. So again, take a look down at your feet. And if you have panels on your...
Wait, Vered, wait. Okay, good. Yeah, I just muted everybody because there's too much noise. So
Okay.
yeah, go ahead.
So when you're standing up And if you take a look down at your feet, and if you have panels on your floor, line the outside of your foot, your feet, with a panel. Or take a book, like so. You take a book, you put it down on the floor, and you line up the outside of your foot. And both feet should be straight. You let your arms relax, you let the shoulders relax, and now this is where the magic happens. So you want to notice where your weight is. Do I have more weight on my left side? Do I have more weight on my right side? Is it in the ball of the feet? Where do I feel? Do I feel it on the outside edge of the feet, the inside edge of the feet? Now what I want you to do is I want you to shift everything back. So most people are in this position, okay, especially women, because we're like, we're gonna do stuff for people. So we're like in, and what we wanna do is we wanna shift our weight back and kind of, like the song says, lean back a little bit. So we take our hips over our ankles and then notice what that feels like. So just standing there with your hips shifted over your ankles rather than being thrusted forward, we want to push them back. And you may feel like your toes are free, which is fine. That's what you kind of want to be able to do. We don't want to walk around and to always, you know, have our toes off the floor so we're not grounded, but we do want to shift our weight back, taking our hips right over those ankles. And maybe we could unmute them and ask people what they're feeling when they're standing here like this.
Is the weight on your heels?
Yeah, shifting your hips over your ankles.
But you feel it in your heels more, correct?
Yes. Do you
Yeah.
feel anything else in the rest of your body?
You tighten your core a little bit?
You feel your stomach area?
Do you tighten your core?
No, no tightening. Do not tighten. That's another myth. No
Okay.
squeezing the core, no squeezing your butt, no contraction. If you want to know what a perfect posture is, look at a child where their stomach is very relaxed, so that that beautiful digestive system and all the organs that are inside have space to move. That's why when you go to an osteopath and they shift things around, they're trying to get your organs in the proper place. So when we relax the stomach, we can actually have even better digestion and breath work. Do not tighten. Anybody else want to share what they feel?
Yeah, I mean, I think some people are trying to say, Jason is trying to say, why don't I hear you? Some people are, says there that you're talking, but I don't hear you.
Sorry, because my,
No,
sorry about that.
Barrett, I hear you, not you. You're not the problem. Other people are.
Oh,
I think it lengthens
I'm loud
the
enough. You're saying I'm loud enough, aren't you?
I found it lengthens the torso.
Pardon me?
It lengthens the torso.
Yes, when you shift back, you'll feel that.
Pero bueno, ya lo firmé, ya lo envié. Listo.
Great. So here's another thing I noticed there.
Yeah.
Well, here, hopefully I didn't just shoot myself. So I noticed my quads waking up, like my quads tightening up a little bit. Is that a good thing? Please tell me it is.
So it's all good. Everything's good. But what it is that what we want to do when we shift our weight back, what will happen is the quads will engage. We do want to try to relax them and relax the kneecaps. And that in itself is effort for most of us because we tend to tense out our legs, and especially dancers, like the harder they are, the straighter they are, the better it is. But what we want to do is we want to relax them. But for sure, the muscles will start to awaken in the quads and as well in the posterior muscles. So as we shift back a little bit, you may even feel the glutes engage and the hamstrings a little bit engage, or your calves, because you're shifting the weight back a little bit. But yes, it's good that you feel your legs. It means, yes, things are working. Anybody else feel anything?
I feel more spaciousness, like feeling lighter, and like that sense of having more space to breathe and to you know, sense the space around me.
Yes. Okay. First, can I just tell you, I love your accent. And keep speaking, please. And and second, yes, when we shift back energetically, things change. It's really wonderful that you actually pointed that out, because this forward posture is a very high energy. Let's go. Let's get it done. Let's move forward. And then if we shift back and relax the shoulders, relax the rib cage, and relax the belly, exactly, we sense a space around us. Thank you. Thank you for chiming in on that.
Welcome, Verette. Nice to see you again.
Good to see you.
I also, can I say something else I sensed?
Yes.
As someone who dances and is always working on her turnout, I actually feel like I'm turned in, even though I'm not.
Right. So everybody, dancers and not dancers, actually, because most hips are tight, we live in a world where hips are tight and butts are flat. So that has a lot to do with not having the proper length and tension in the front of our hips. So yes, it will definitely feel like you're rotated in. But again, you want to, if you put your hand on your foot and just cut your toes off, you're going to see a perfect rectangle.
Mm-hmm.
And that gives you the idea that your feet are actually straight and that you're stacking yourself. And just standing like this is already activating your body differently. You may even feel things in your hips. If you stand here long enough, if you're used to not standing like this, you'll start actually feeling your hips engage. And that's why aligning like this is so important, because you're waking up the joints that need to constantly stay active to be able to hold you up properly, without forcing the holding up, right? We want ease in everything in our life. We want flow in the body. We want our bodies to work inside and out in the easiest of ways. And I have to say that is probably the biggest benefit of posture alignment therapy, because as you align things on the outside, what you visually see, first of all, aesthetically, you look better. I've had people in the clinic that after doing posture therapy, all of a sudden they're an inch taller, they look longer, they look leaner, because when the spine has its proper curves and it's elongated, then all of a sudden, if you were hinged forward or backwards or rotated, we remove that rotation, we remove that hinge, all of a sudden you're longer, you look better in a more effortless way. And when we have that effortless in the body, when things are aligned, blood flow is better, the ability to deliver oxygen and get rid of carbon dioxide in the body is better. And so it's not about stretchy, stretchy, stretchy. It's very, very different. It's really about having the proper length and tension in the muscles. And every muscle actually has a very specific length and tension. And we know when it's right and when it's wrong, because things work or they don't. Right? Like if you can't bend down or turn over, or I have to only turn to this way, or can't turn my head to that side, or can only turn it to this side, or this, we know things are out of alignment. And then it's not just the pain, which creates, again, internal inflammation, but it's what else is happening on the inside. What's going on if I don't have enough space around my chest and my lungs? What's happening to my respiratory system? What's happening to my heart? How can it deliver the proper amount of oxygen and blood that it requires? How about if my head is out of alignment all the time? What's going on with my brain? So we see a lot of Parkinson's, a lot of people with any type of brain disease, they're totally in this rounded head forward position. So it's kind of like, again, we have to look at when we are straight, and this, just so we're very clear, every doctor studies the exact same books that I study in medical school about posture, only they do it for one semester and then it's gone. But posture alignment therapy is a fundamental part of our well-being. It really, really is. And having things loaded up properly is something that doesn't take hours a day. Also, let me just like make that super clear. Within 15, 20 minutes of doing a few little exercises, like we call them, you feel a huge difference, huge. 2 to 3 sometimes, 2 to 3 exercises that they take 5 to 10 minutes. So what it is it just has to become part of our lifestyle, an awareness, not just, oh, I'm going to do this one time and then leave it. No, I'm actually going to incorporate aligning my body in the same way as I incorporate drinking 2 to 3 liters of water a day. It's the same thing. It's part of holistic health.
Yeah. To add to that, there's a couple of things where
Cheers.
my mind goes on. Cheers. Cheers with my left hand, not my right. Cheers.
Oh, good. Look at you. Shifting mine too. Good girl.
Good job, everybody. So 2 things come to mind when you were sharing all that. One was what had happened to when I was coaching. It was in White Plains, the old studio. I was working. I had been working a lot and traveling a lot, so I was flying, driving like intensely. Everything was fine, but then just like you explained, boom, something happened. My knee was always a little, the first initial pain, a little bit,
It's a little tickle.
a little tickle. And then it literally swelled up in overnight. It just went pow, like huge. And I remember I called you in tears because I said, I can't walk and I've got a big schedule ahead.
Yeah.
And what am I going to do? And I'd gone to a clinic there and they gave me something to help with the swelling, but you immediately took your pictures, did everything. And I went more intensely. I spent more time in the morning taking care of it. And it started, it was pretty quick, the switch, because I couldn't wear heels. And I understood that for a while. I stayed in flats just to help the swelling go down and to start fix it. But it did happen pretty quickly because I was in so much pain. And it feels like it's overnight, like you described, but it's because I ignored the little, there was little signs, but no big deal. I know my body enough that I know how to do a turn without aggravating it. And just when I was explaining some swivel actions, boom, I went, shit, something just happened.
Yeah.
So,
I'm happy you brought up the whole inflammation thing, because that's when a lot of people get diagnosis with arthritis and bursitis and tendonitis, and all these itises are basically inflammation of a joint. And why do joints get inflamed? Because there isn't the proper movement or rotation. And so enough fluid doesn't go in and out of there. And so the body's actually, in its infinite wisdom, protecting itself. It's protecting itself because it's going to say, hey, sit the heck down because you're doing something wrong and I'm going to protect you before that knee blows. Right. So that, again, it's we don't like the pain, but if we take it as an opportunity to really change and shift, just like any pain, it only brings us to a better place. So our shoulders, our hips, and our ankles, you have to understand, are a ball and socket joint. And that ball must be able to move in every direction. And the knee is the only thing that doesn't do that, because if it does, it goes goodbye. But so when we are not able to raise both our arms, and you can all just try this. This is like just fantastic to do, and see if you can straighten your arms and bring them near your ears without lifting your chest, without lifting the rib cage. Just bring your arms to the ears. What else has to happen in order for your arms to come up? And that's why they say that, farmers are in better shape than people that go to the gym, because they use their bodies fully, lifting and pulling and twisting in every direction. And a joint like our shoulder has to be able to do that type of thing. And we've come so far into a place where we're always in one position. And that one position, repetitive position, just like you mentioned in dance, even in sport, if you're a golfer or a tennis player or whatever it may be, if you don't unwind that rotation, you're going to fall into some issues as well.
Yes. And with that joint, the other thing that you helped me out with, I mean, I still, I don't, do things as often, but I started to drive differently because I was driving a lot. you, because my lower back and you talked to me about that because I was in more pain than ever from driving. And again, then I get emotional because I'm like, oh my God, I have to drive everywhere. What am I going to do? She goes, it's okay. We're just going to adjust the way you're sitting when you drive. Cause I felt like, don't tell me I have to buy a whole new car. And I went into deep.
And there is no car with the right seat, just saying.
Well,
nothing is designed, even when we think things are designed for optimal health, it's not. Things were designed to create an industrial type of society to keep people on a conveyor belt producing stuff. It wasn't designed to, hey, let's get healthy. No, because then you would not be sitting in one place. And I did want to share that with everybody. If you are somebody that is on your computer a lot and you write or you work on your computer, whatever profession you have, try different levels of sitting. So I have a high stool that I sit on. I have a low stool that I sit on, and you just sit here. You place your feet in the same way. You place your computer in front of you, and again, you're stretching out your hips. You could lengthen your legs out. You could open them. You could do whatever you want with your legs in that way. And then I have a regular chair, obviously, that I sit on as well. But I'm always shifting and changing. And you could put a little timer on your phone. I mean, technology, we can use it for our betterment to every hour, change your position. If you know you have 5 hours of some work to do, or even 3 hours, it's so way too long to be sitting in one position, even standing in one position. The standing desk got so popular, but it's still one position. Everything that is static is not going to bring about our health and our well-being, because not only are we sitting there and the hips get tight and all those things, but we also only breathe in one way. So if I'm always sitting like this, I'm only making one shape of body. So that's pretty much the amount of my respiratory system, that what I can do to expand and contract the lungs. So if I change up the position, sit on the floor, sit on a low stool, you go from the stool, you go into even a lower space, like a deep squat while you're doing some work. And that will naturally, you don't have to force breath. You're going to have to breathe, right? We breathe to live. So all of a sudden, in our natural day-to-day, we're bringing in aspects of aligning our posture just by moving in different positions. So we're awakening it, We also, a lot of us, somebody did mention on the chat, and I don't know if she's here, but it was, I think, a sleeping position she mentioned. So the ideal sleeping position is on the floor. And I do floor sleep once in a while. And you could put a blanket on the floor and you just kind of try to sleep there. That's kind of tough. It's not made for everybody, but let's go to the next place. Would be on your back, on your bed, and with no pillows. And that's also very difficult for a lot of people because we're used to having something support our head, but it's a brace. So now while we're sleeping, for however many hours you sleep, you're keeping your head slightly elevated. What am I doing? I'm tightening the back of my neck. So even in static positions, we enforce and strengthen or tighten or lengthen muscles or ligaments and stuff like that. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. I applied that with the sleeping. When I do feel extra tension, sometimes just sleeping without a pillow, or I own only flat pillows since we've had this conversation, so it doesn't affect me as much. But sometimes when I travel from hotel to hotel, they only have these huge pillows, and immediately I was like, oh no, I already feel the pain, so I have to sleep without any pillows, because most people, it's very fashion and it's very big, comfy pillows. But now that I've been sleeping with flat, like really, really thin ones or nothing, I can't even go back to high. I have instant pain.
Right.
So since you told me that, actually. So that was a big help
So
because
somebody asked me about sleeping on their tummy or resting on their tummy. Is that person on the call? No?
Yes, actually I am. This is Sharani.
Oh, it was Sharon. Okay.
Yeah.
So, Sharani, you never want to be on your tummy. Where are you in my little picture book? Where are you? 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 There you are. Hi. So you never want to be on your tummy. That really tightens up the hips. So, and it's also, you know, again, you're breathing. So you're contracting everything by laying on your belly. And so internally and externally, it's a position that I always take everybody out of. It'll create a lot of hip pain and back pain, shoulder pain.
So because does it contract everything then?
It contracts, it also blocks everything. Like you're breathing during the night, but you have no space for your tummy to move, right? So we need that. When we're breathing, and we're taught always in breathing, and I'm sure most of you have gone over that the tummy and the belly has to move. So we really want to have a space for it to be able to move. It's the same reason why, you know, I tell people don't wear things that are too tight or support hose and all this stuff that, you know, just like squishes the body and it doesn't make sense. You know, we've bought into a society that tells you suck in your belly and done. And then we're all wondering, why the heck do we not go to the bathroom? Well, if you're sucking your belly in all the time, how could you possibly have enough movement in that beautiful digestive system, those so many feet that need that movement? And so we shouldn't be sucking anything in. And when you do postural alignment therapy, when you do these exercises, the body naturally goes there. So we don't have to think so much. Like, I don't want you to have to walk around every single day saying, okay, I'm going to shift my way back and I'm going to rotate it. You know, it's a lot of thinking all day long. And really, maybe we'll do it for 5 minutes. Right. But if you practice this, then all of a sudden things can fall into alignment. And so if you want to do a nice little fun test, we could do one more test. And you can really see. Yeah.
Do you remember the test? Do you want to do the test before? I have 2 questions to ask you.
Oh, go ahead. Question, whatever, sure.
So the question is, how about side sleeping?
So again, it's not ideal. Back sleeping is best, but if you're side sleeping, you need to turn like a chicken, side to side to side to side to side to side. I don't know how much fun that is all night long. Yeah. So, you know, I start on my back and then I kind of go to the side and I'm like, oh, go back to your back, you know. And sometimes when I want to get cozy with a pillow, I go to the side. So, you know, I don't want to say absolutely no to side sleeping. I just want to tell you what is ideal and what is no is on your tummy. No, never. Side is okay, but again, notice, do you stay on one side more than the other? And is there a reason for that? Is it because it hurts you, you know?
Right. Okay. And so I mean, this is where my head goes when you say stay back. Don't we snore more when we're on our back? Snore more? What's the snoring issue with? Does it have anything to do with all this?
Yeah.
Because when I'm on my back, I tend to get a little louder. I'm just saying. I record my sleeping, by the way. That's how anal I get.
Yeah. So again, let me explain to you our head position and what goes on in our head. We have our nose, our ears, our mouth, our throat, and it's all connected. And if our head isn't in proper alignment, and it could happen just one time, it doesn't always happen all the time. We may have had a day where we're really like in this forward head position, and all of a sudden at night we're like everything like stuck. So it has a lot to do, even allergies. I've helped people with their allergies, because if there isn't, again, the proper drainage and flow that's going through everything, we will snore. That's why those little snoring things, they push on something. They're changing a position of something. It's always about position. always, everything. Our face, we work with people with lockjaw. Peter Gosky, the person who created this, actually was at the World Dentistry conferences explaining the difference between preventing operations. So if any of you like have had teeth problem or jaw problems, all that, it has all to do with your head position. So yes, absolutely. Yes, the big YES has a lot to do with where our head is. So if you did, like, static position before going to bed and then went into bed, and you would have a big difference in the way you sleep and the way you snore also.
Okay.
Sometimes we're also a little bit dehydrated. There has there's a few other things as well. I have a background also in nutrition and holistic health. So it's not one thing. Nothing is one thing. It's everything. But the body's design is pretty amazing. And when we correct that, a lot of other things fall to the wayside. Are there any other questions before I go to the next test?
Yeah. Two more questions.
Yeah.
Can I make a comment?
Yes.
Oh,
Let me see who's making a comment. Hello.
Kim is.
It's Kim. Hi, everyone.
Hi, Kim.
Hi. I just want to
You
say
on a beach?
I was taken on a beach, but I wish I was on a beach. So maybe a month ago, I was in excruciating pain. So I called Baird, and she helped me out. And like within, I have to say, what was it, half an hour? An hour, 45 minutes gone. Like I was back in shape, but I'm sticking to my program. I have to say though, one of the most impressive things in that session was the breathing, because I didn't realize that I didn't even realize how much I was struggling to breathe, and it was just remarkable. So I absolutely wanted to share that because you mentioned it, and it makes a big difference. Like when you can breathe properly, everything else just functions so much better. So I just wanted to share that because I thought it was.
Thank you. And just so everybody knows, Kim is like a very advanced yoga person. So it's not like she's not somebody who has a knowledge or a lack of knowledge in the body and how it moves. She has a ton of knowledge and experience. I think you're actually a yoga instructor, no?
Yin, yes.
Yeah. So it's knowing how to breathe in different positions is, again, it's an awareness. Thank you. I appreciate you sharing that.
Sitting, right? Like you're sitting when you say that, like when you're moving, you're changing your sitting position, you're breathing differently. Like I sit all day for work, I don't move, right?
Right.
Yeah. Okay, a couple more we have a few more. They're all coming in, the questions. Okay.
Great.
So with back sleeping and lower back pain, does a pillow under the knees help?
So yes, it does help. But the goal of any time somebody comes in and works with me is I don't want you to have to put a pillow in between your knees and between your back. These are all braces. These are all things that, like, we're patching things up. I have some people that come to me that, I sleep with a pillow over here, I sleep with a pillow over there, and my husband beside me. I'm like, really? Like, is he 5 feet away from you? So what we want to do is we want to get rid of those things, as I do even with insoles, people who have insoles in their feet. We want to remove the things that make us feel limited, but it will help alleviate a little bit of the pain, but you're chasing, again, the symptom. You're not actually dealing with the cause and correcting the problem. So instead, we could imagine how lovely would it be to go to bed without having to do that, Yep.
Okay, thank you. We got more. Next question is, if your shoulders are always up, even during sleep, how do you train them to relax?
Because you're feeling tense in your mind? Can that person answer me?
No, wait, you're muted.
Yeah. I think it's due to tension. I consciously think about that my shoulders are here, and I have to think about relaxing them.
Right.
Even dancing, my shoulders are here when I dance, and they have to remind me, put your shoulders down. Like it's always, I guess it's tension.
Right. So that's a really good question. So thank you for asking it. We carry most of our tension around our neck and shoulder area. And that's why when we feel a level of stress, literally people will get like a pinch in the like here or behind the shoulder blade, behind your chicken bone. And so Patty and I kind of discussed it a little bit. I don't know if we'll have the time to go into it, maybe another time, but how we feel emotionally 100% affects how our body will react. So sometimes we go inside out. We deal with what is creating that stress in working on the skills to relax. And sometimes we go outside in. So in postural alignment therapy, I would actually, again, I'm not going to look at just the shoulders, but your shoulders may be tense because of what's going on in the hips. So if my hips aren't functioning, something else is going to take over. So if I'm holding on, and I have a dance background as well, so if I'm holding on to my partner and I'm on heels and I really don't feel as solid with my hips and my feet, my shoulders are going to tense up to hold me up. It happens instantaneously. So what we need to do, again, is look at the body as a whole. How can I align things? It's not about strength. Let me just be very, very clear. We do not strengthen, we straighten. There's no use in strengthening when you are not straight. So we straighten before strengthening. So it's very common that shoulders take over when other parts, other joints are not doing their job. So I would look at you as a whole. I would look at your hips. I would look at your feet. I would look at your ankles. And of course, there are things that would literally, usually after 2 E sizes, most people say, oh my God, my shoulders feel so relaxed. And I haven't even touched their shoulders. I've done some hip stuff because the hips are the drivers of the body. They really are the biggest part. It's what we use the most. It's where, you know, we sit all day long, stuff like that. So yes, there are postures that could correct that, but they're not necessarily just in relation to the shoulders.
Cool. Another question and a couple more. When I sleep on my side, I have numbness on my hands. What can you speak to this?
Yeah. So any kind of numbness, carpal tunnel syndrome, any type of thing like that. I literally last year had a gentleman in his late 70s. He was scheduled for an operation for carpal tunnel syndrome. He came to me for something else that he was going on his knee. I'm like, you're not going in for that operation. We're going to work together. After 3 visits with me, he had no more pain. He was practicing his posture. He came to see me regularly after that to do other stuff. But any type of numbness always has to do with the joint loads. So very often, first of all, if you're pressing on a side, it's going to go numb. I mean, like if I cross my leg so long, my foot goes numb, right? So there's that aspect. But if it's the numbness on the opposite hand, who asked that question?
Coming.
I asked the question, Vered. It's actually on both sides.
It's on both sides.
It's been going on for many years now, and no matter
do you only feel it when you're sleeping? Can I ask you?
No, but it's most it wakes me up when I sleep, and so it bothers me during the day. As soon as I move, it goes away really. So it's just
Right.
like I said, you know, if I cross my leg, then, you know, I may feel it also on my legs, but it's mostly in like any position where I stay still, it starts to happen. And when I sleep, obviously I'm not moving. So this is when it really bothers me.
You see how smart people are? See, you just really answered your own question, and that's really it. It's exactly that. So when we sleep, we often round our shoulders and we go to sleep like this. And so now my shoulders are hinged and I'm in a little bit of a crooked position, and the flow that needs to go through the hands and the wrist joint isn't there. So, and it could be very unnerving to have numbing in the hands. And we know a lot of symptoms of what is numbing. Am I having a heart attack? Am I having a stroke? You're not. It's just because things are not in the right position. So I would definitely suggest for you, love, to get on your back, turn your palms up. You can also lay on, everybody could just kind of clasp your hands like this. This is a fantastic exercise to do. And you could do this laying on the floor with your knees bent. It's beautiful. Or you could also do it just sitting in a chair. And you should do this sitting in a chair or laying in your bed all the time. And you just put your arms straight like this, and everybody bring your arms up and down. And you do this about 60 times. First of all, your chest is going to feel lovely. You're going to be able to breathe. Try not to lift your chest up as you do it. You really want to feel that it's the shoulders that are doing the work. Keep the palms tight together, the arms straight. Do you notice a little crickety crackety in your shoulders? Do you notice one arm can straighten and the other one can't? And so the more you do this, just so you know, it doesn't require mega years of therapy. It just requires keep doing this. And all of a sudden, you're going to have a better position of your shoulder joint, because especially most people are hinged forward in the shoulders. So that movement, lying on the floor, or if you want it even more challenging with your back against a wall, that lets us really know what's going on. Hey, wait a second, why is my left arm not as straight as my right arm? I actually feel a little tighter in my right today than my left. And if I keep on doing it, all of a sudden, there's this evenness that happens and the mobility comes back. So I would suggest for you, I mean, it's just a very small little tip, but I would suggest you do that regularly during the day, because numbing is something you want to get rid of because it makes the mind crazy.
Yeah.
I hope that helps for you.
I've really, truthfully, just doing it a little bit already released some of the tension.
Yeah. You feel it right away.
Yeah.
The body is so amazing. It wants to go back into that beautiful neutral position, and it knows you give it what it requires, boom, it goes there.
Cool. I have there's another question.
Yeah.
And, is that all right, Vered? I know our time is getting.
No,
really
it's
close.
fine. I'm good.
Okay.
Yeah, we're totally good.
I have a tear in my right rotator cuff. I'm using my left hand when possible. Sleeping, reaching, dancing, hair drying, and washing is painful. COVID is preventing me from getting any treatment right now.
Well, we could do it online.
Yeah.
And I would definitely suggest that you start moving a little bit, because a tear, again, let me just speak to whoever.
Michelle.
Hi, Michelle. So I would suggest that you definitely start doing some movement with your arm, some rotations, a little bit of.
Started it a little bit. I started because of COVID. I was using my weights. I had a slight tear to begin with from tennis, but then, and I got a cortisone shot in November, played again. And I now it's using the weights and a little bit of my exercise, and believe me, not much, maybe 4, one set of 10 for maybe 4 exercises. I think I did too much.
Yeah, so I would say no weight bearing, no weight bearing. Exactly what I said. We straighten before we strengthen. So if there's a tear, there's something going on there. So just trying to add some muscle onto a place that's rotated or not in the proper position will even create a bigger impingement and a bigger dysfunction for you and more problems. So everything should have no weight right now. You're going for mobility. You're going for a range of motion to try to gently lift it through breath work. And if you can't do it sitting, you lay on the floor and you move it laying on the floor. So now you have gravity, you have support. There's nobody that needs to help you. You just move the arm up and down the floor. You roll the shoulders. You want the shoulders to be rolling. You can do this even with a torn rotator cuff. You can do this. I've dealt with many people with torn rotator cuff, and just this in itself is going to help you heal that space.
Okay.
And so don't do, I would really suggest, don't all of a sudden shift everything onto the other side. Go slower. We have time these days. It's a beautiful time to heal now. This is what this inward time is all about anyways. So I would say, take your time and go a little bit slower and try to lift up a glass with that arm. Maybe not blow drying your hair, maybe not the best thing, but other little things like stirring your coffee. These are all things you want to engage that. Just so I can mention this, Patty, in our brain, when we get a pain signal, the lizard brain is going to say, hey, stop whatever the hell you're doing. Stop it all. Go lay on the couch. That's the worst thing you could actually do. So of course you don't want to go for a run when you have knee pain, but we actually do need to create a little bit of movement in that space, of course, guided with a therapist. But my sister this morning, she literally called me at 7 a.m. or whatever, it was 6, and she says, I cannot believe I didn't do some posture. I went and I did some kicking on my back, and I can't move my leg. Her hip was locked. After 30 minutes, she's like, I can't believe this. I could walk. I have like, we just put things back together. But most people, because she has the understanding and the belief in what I do, most people would have laid on their couch, gotten painkillers, inflammation pains, all the drugs we take and all this stuff. And now you're out on your couch, you're feeling like crap. It's just this like endless circle of poor information that's out there, really. And in the reality, what we need to do is we need to address that area or the body and move other parts of the area of our bodies. And even if, you know, I did a lot of stuff for, because it was her left leg, I did a lot of stuff on her right leg, because even in our brain, there's something that's called like ghost therapy, and your brain actually, even if you're only using one leg, your other side will get a little bit of stimulation. And then slowly, as that loosened up, I brought her to the other side. And then she was even able to attend a 7 a.m. posture class that I did. So, I mean, this is a huge thing, because like I said, most people would be in therapy for months on your couch, pills and drugs, and that's not fun. We don't want that. We don't want that. There are other ways. There really are. And really, this is a brilliant, brilliant, brilliant method. I've studied so many things. This is really, I have to say, it's the magic to everything. Understanding how the body moves. And for those of you who were there last week when they were talking about chakras, this is all about that. Keeping things in alignment, your meridians, all these stuff. It happens through a position, not just thinking it. We actually have to move things.
Yeah. Okay. So, and then
Bless you.
I know the other question, and then maybe I don't know if there was something else you wanted to share with us about another ease. And what do you call those? Ease something?
No, we're just going to do a little posture test. Ease something. Ease size. It just meant Egoscue exercise. They made it shorter.
I mean, Doris.
Marketing.
Yes, it works. E-size. All about. What can you tell us about crossing your legs while sitting? So, you know how.
So it's the same thing. We don't want to do that because again, you know, we want to think of alignment. You want to keep your feet flat. You can do positions like, well, I'll just show you. Oh, maybe you won't see that like that. If you want to move your legs, you can do a position like this, where you're doing a nice figure 4 position and changing that up a few times. That's fabulous to do. But usually the position of crossing our legs, I mean, unless we're wearing a dress and we're out and we, you know, you could also just keep your legs together. That's another option. It's just feminine. But crossing the legs is not a good idea. Again, you're cutting circulation, you're creating rotation in the legs. And again, unless you're crisscrossing every half an hour, making sure both are doing that, it's not the best thing to do. We want to be grounded emotionally and physically. We want our feet planted barefoot on the ground, feeling our feet on the ground. Yeah. It makes a huge difference on how we even feel emotionally. So like if I work with children who have anxiety or stuff like that, they very often, people who are on their toes all the time, and toe walking people tend to be like anxious and nervous, a little speedy, a little fast. And so like just by planting their feet down and bending their knees, we can develop a certain calmness, and then I can work on the other physical aspects.
Yeah. I'll see that when I'm coaching people where they hold a lot of their energy, and I'll, you know, I'm not a postural therapist, but I'm an assertive coach, and I'll put my hands on their shoulders and bring their energy down to try to make them get more, bring the energy lower. I'll talk about that. I mean, you know, again, I'm not a postural therapist as you are.
No, and actually, no, that's a fantastic thing to do, because it's kinesthetic, people feel it. But the reality is, and I would say to all the dancers, as much as you can when you're practicing, don't be on heels, because it is throwing your body weight so forward and hinging you forward. And you could practice on a smaller heel, and you could develop a lot of wonderful technique, and you can develop really fantastic habits. And then you could practice a little bit on those heels, or try to get into a lower heel when you're dancing. I would really say, because again, the body is not designed, trust me, I was on them for years. So, and I have gorgeous bunions to show for them. We really want to understand that we're just not designed for that. So while we love dancing, and I would never say stop dancing, it's fantastic physically, emotionally, in every single way, there's better ways to do it so we can have longevity. You want to dance forever. You don't want to be one of those people that say, oh, I can't go and dance anymore, I have so much pain. Well, here's the way to prevent it. That's exactly what Patty did. She brought down her shoes as a coach and started, and that allowed her to have way less pain. And of course, she still wears heels when she's going to competitions and stuff like, of course, that's fine. But we have to know, we have to use the tools in our toolbox and be smart about things and say, does it make sense that we're in this position for an hour every day or 2 hours or whatever it may be? And even during your day-to-day life, like wearing heels is not the best thing. And while I love shoes and heels, I also, I really realize that it's not something I hang out in, because it just tightens up the calves, the shins, the ankles. They just get stuck in this type of position. It's called dorsiflexion, and it really creates a lot of problems in the body, even internally.
Cool.
Are there any other questions before I do our last little thing?
I think we should. I always felt heels made my posture better by helping.
No, it makes your legs and your ass look good. So it's no, it doesn't. It doesn't make your posture better. What it does is it shifts you forward, and you can just notice that. Stand flat, then put on your heel, and you'll notice your weight will be way forward. And so, what part of your posture do you feel is better? Who's asking that?
Oh, it was Michelle again. I have a very high instep, and I always felt it made me keep my shoulders back, my head straight, and I felt more balanced when I wore heels. And when I found I wore sneakers, I ended up being round-shouldered. I didn't sit properly. I felt, ironically, I felt it really helped with my posture. I looked straight when I walked. I had to keep my body balanced, so I would, and it just became natural for me.
Right. So that's fantastic. Sorry, I cut you off. Did you have more that you want to say?
Me? No. Not
Okay.
me. Okay.
So she gave me great insight. If I were to see her feet, she said I have high instep. So she's already in what's called dorsiflexion. So of course she feels comfortable when she puts those heels on. I have a lot of people that tell me that. They're like, I feel solid when I'm on that heel. And they have these like gorgeous arches that we look for as dancers. We're like, oh my God, those feet are amazing. But they're so not, because we have to have an ability to put a foot flat and stand straight. And again, while, I mean, I don't know how your tear happened, but our ability to stand straight where our feet are flat is how we are designed, even if it may feel more comfortable. And it is obvious that you would feel more comfortable because you have that high instep and you're in dorsiflexion. Same thing with one of my clients down below, Shalva, you could just wave. She's the same thing. She could go up on her tippy toes like nobody's business. Right. And I'm like, wow, you could have totally been a prima ballerina, but it's like this huge high instep, and that's where she feels comfortable. And interestingly, during this COVID, she's been doing my exercise classes and classes that I teach, barefooted and flat-footed, and she started developing a little bit of pains and stuff like that. And so we addressed that, but that's where you want to be. You want to be able to function in that type of position where you are flat or up, but really we're not supposed to be comfortable in this position.
And as a dance coach, and you can maybe go to this fair, what I'll notice is women that do like to be in heels, the tendency too is that this happens to try to
see you.
So they lose the center.
I can't see you.
Oh.
Back up a little bit.
Well, they'll lose a little bit of the center because they're up on the heel and then they're trying to stay straight, but this is forward.
100%. So
that's
yes,
what ends up happening.
Yeah, so people who are on their toes tend to have a little bit of a looser abdominal wall and a more extended rib cage and a chest thrust. Yeah, absolutely. Because the body has to balance itself out. It just does. So it shifts in that, like I said, in its infinite wisdom, it shifts you to make sure you don't fall over.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool.
Absolutely.
So yeah, that seems to be about it for the questions right now. I don't know if you just want to say what you wanted to say, or if we can tell people how they can reach you and what.
I want everybody to experience this.
Oh, good.
Yeah. So everybody.
Hi.
Hi, Beth. Wait, Beth has something to say. Wait.
Okay.
Hi.
Oh.
I just want to share with you that I work with very regularly, like weekly, and I've had different kinds of pains. I'm listening to what people have been describing. I've had numbing in my head. I had an injury after running a marathon, and really just following, the program that she gives me has helped in different ways over the years. Like I'm thinking of 2 examples, but I probably have many others. I was pregnant. I breastfeed, and, having positions, being in, compromised positions from feeding a baby has also been something I've worked on with her. So I just wanted to share that I'm listening to everybody, and, I'm not a dancer, but certainly doing posture has helped me in many, many, many ways, and it continues to. So I've integrated in my life, and it's really changed a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you for that. There were some other people that mentioned that on the chats. I just didn't go there because I wanted to get all the questions in, but that Lisa's worked with you and says you've really helped her out. And the fact that you can do it on Skype has been flexible and great for her.
Thank you.
Good.
Okay, so let's stand up, and I want to, this is just a really lovely awareness, and don't hate me after we do it, but I want you to get your back against a wall. So I'm going to take my little snowball with me. Dooba-dooba-doo. And yes. Okay, so can everybody hear me here?
Yep.
Okay, great. So what you're going to do is you're going to place your heels against a wall and take a look down. Are the outside of those feet straight? If you put 2 rulers on the outside of your feet, are they straight? So you'll feel, like you said, that little turned in position. Make sure your butt is against the wall. Your head is against the wall. Drop the chin slightly. So kind of like you're pulling the chin down. Very attractive double chin look. And what I want you to do is notice what you feel here. So you could unmute everybody and maybe they could share.
Okay. Sorry. Hold on.
Okay.
Don't speak. I have to put my
Don't speak.
No. Okay, everybody's unmuted. Go ahead.
So as you're standing here with your back against the wall, what do you feel?
Splinters.
Pardon?
Pressure in my neck and shoulders.
What do you feel? Tension in there?
It's a little tighter.
Right. Are your shoulders against the wall?
Yes.
Is your head against the wall?
Yes. Everything.
Great. Does everybody have a little arch in the lower back?
Yes.
Good. So just relax your stomach and breathe. And now I want you to notice, where is the back of your rib cage? Is that touching the wall?
No.
Right. So most people, back of rib cage does not.
Est-ce que le bas de tes côtes?
C'est ça.
J'ai les ailes de pigeon sur mes omoplates.
Le derrière des côtes. Is that correct?
Le derrière des côtes, ouais, c'est ça.
Le derrière du côte. Est-ce que ça touche le mur?
Non.
C'est ça. Alors, qu'est-ce qu'on aimerait faire? What we want to do is we want to wiggle and hang out in a position like this for a while and try to align with a wall, because a wall is straight. And eventually that back of this is what shows us really how misaligned we are. Our shoulders should be flat on the
Okay,
wall.
hold on. I'm
Our
going to be weird now. What if you have a nice butt?
Yeah, so I have one, and it's okay. Your butt is on the wall, and you have a nice little arch in the lower back. That's beautiful. But the upper back shouldn't have that arch. It's supposed to be rounded in a different position. You're supposed to, the back of your rib cage should be able to sit into the wall despite that butt. So that's shifting your weight back like we talked about before. But when we're standing without a wall behind us, we don't really realize how much we have to shift back. Does anybody feel like they're falling forward?
No, but I noticed, what about the shoulders? What, the whole shoulder should be flat on the wall? Like the whole, the heck? Laugh.
So the shoulders should be touching the wall, yes. And while you're standing there, I'm just going to come and look because I'm very interested. So what I want you to notice is, where do your arms hang? Do your knees hang low? Where do your arms hang? Are they hanging beside your body? Your feet should be hip width apart. Don't tense your arms out. Don't squeeze your shoulders. Just hang out there. And is one arm more ahead of the body than the other arm? Try to exhale and relax and drop the chest and push the back of the rib cage into the wall. Wiggle it back into the wall and relax the arms. Let them just naturally fall. And try to let the rib cage fall. The rib cage should come together. It shouldn't be expanded. It should be very relaxed. And then this is just a little bit of a test of how comfortable or uncomfortable are you standing in a position like this. And that's it. And, if you kind of take a look or you feel, you may notice that your hands are a little bit, one may be more in front of the other. They both may be touching the front of your legs. They shouldn't be. They should be hanging directly beside your body. And your heels should be touching that wall.
It's interesting because,
look how lovely, Jen, that's really good position.
Yeah. You could see also when someone is not right, the natural leaning towards one side of the body, you see it right away.
Yeah, you see it and you may feel it. Like, what's good about this is you could actually feel your own body weight. Is it more on one leg? Is it more on the other leg? Is your head, if you take a picture of yourself or you would have somebody take a picture of you, you want the chin dropped down. We don't want it lifted. We don't want to lengthen the front of the neck. We want to lengthen the back of the neck. We want to think of the spine. We want to create a long, long spine. And that's from the back of the neck that happens. And very often we're in this position where we're like stretching out the front of our neck. And then we're like, wait, why do I have that stuff hanging here? So we want to really.
I have a question.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm standing here and I'm feeling the back of like this portion here touching, but I don't feel up to here, from here to here touching.
So so the rib cage should touch, but not the lower lumbar.
Okay, so if it's not touching, which it's not really,
right,
I just kind of slightly push it a little bit in.
Absolutely. 100%. You could play with that. Relax your arms a little bit. Don't let your arms get tense. And just kind of through the exhale, you breathe out and you let that rib cage really drop and you shift it back.
I can feel it.
Yeah, I could see you actually have a really good position. But you can see that the chest is slightly elevated. So most of us lift the chest excessively, and we want to really allow for the chest to relax so that the shoulders can just drop down. And even in this position, I don't remember your name, that cute girl who asked me about the shoulders being tense. Was it Michelle?
Diane. It's
No.
Diane.
Diane. Is Diane still here?
Yeah, she's there.
So this is, you may feel now, Diane, just in standing here, that your shoulders have dropped.
I'm trying to unmute her. And for whatever reason,
Wait, hold on a sec. She's going to unmute you. Hold on a second.
Okay. Try to unmute yourself. I can't do
Oh,
it.
because she has headphones on. I got you, Diane.
I said I actually feel tension going up into my jaw as I'm trying to
yes.
relax.
Yeah. So that's allowing that jaw to release. It's really, really important. Shifting that head back, allowing that jaw to release is essential. Again, for brain health, mouth health, teeth health, all these things. Yeah. Yeah. So pushing our head back, like we do these little exercises where we're just pulling our neck back. Isn't that attractive? You double chin, triple chin it, and you just push it back. You could do it while you're sitting, and you could just do it against a wall. And again, you create that awareness of, is my head in alignment? And even me, like as I'm talking, I'm just like slightly hinged forward. And I'm like, hey, you get excited, you know, so you kind of want to shift back again. And it's just this awareness. Of course, this isn't the therapy, but it's awareness to your own body's position. And just in this awareness, you can create changes. Are there any other questions?
I had a challenge keeping my arms close to my body. I felt like they tended to go.
Yeah, you don't have to keep them close to your body. You're supposed to let them just be natural. And then eventually those shoulders will relax and then they'll fall. But yeah, the tense shoulders will kind of lift the arms up or rotate them forward. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. That's why the wall awareness is really fantastic. Really, when you get there, you really just want to really relax those shoulders. See, already your chest fell, Jen. See, that's already different. You just hang out there. Your body will change. You see it? You see it?
Yeah, totally.
So right away we see aesthetically something different. And so that when the chest falls, now we have this beautiful space here, which if you're a dancer, that's the space you want, my friends. Yeah. So you want all of this to be lovely open, but not by pushing them down like this, because wow, now my friggin' neck is sticking out because it's so, tense here. So my things are pulling, so it's in bringing the body to alignment that naturally, again, the body in its infinite wisdom will do exactly what it needs to do. That's the brilliance behind this method. It really is.
Yeah.
Wow, what a difference. Already so much changed. I love it. So that's another thing that I do, just so you're aware, when we do the sessions online, or even in my clinic, I always take pictures. I take a before picture and I take an after picture so you can see the difference. If the therapy is changing you, there will be a physical change. You will be able to visibly see it. So that's something that's very, very encouraging, because you start off, I show you what's going on, and then afterwards you're like, wow, I actually look so much better, and I'm straighter. Because naturally our eyes appreciate an aesthetic of square shoulders, the hips that are square, when things are rotated or whatever, it looks off to us. We don't even know, but it does. It looks off to us.
Yeah. And as someone who's done those pictures with you and worked with you regularly, I'm always amazed when I do have pain, like you, again, I'm not as, I try to stay as consistent, but there are simple exercises. They're not hard, but when I have an injury and then everything goes out of whack, I still think that I'm pretty straight. And then she takes pictures of me and I realize, is that me? And I'm like, I own posture, like, I own this shit. So just to let you know, it's amazing the subtlety of how we do get, when you're in pain, it's because something is off, because it is not straight, it is off balance. And so then she's able to create a program in order for me to get back into alignment. So I've noticed it, and I think I'm like pretty awesome.
You are.
No, but I'm like, I own it. Every single time I was like, no, I'm pretty good. I've been doing, and then that's why I'm in pain, because so yeah.
Right.
And the beauty, honestly, of what you do, and then we'll have you wrap it up, is that you're in control of it. I think it's here's your program, now do it. And it's in your hands, as compared to having to go to a therapist always to do the work for you. There's something
Right.
about when someone says, this is for you according to what your body looks like. Do this every day for just a few minutes a day, you know, every day, and you'll notice a difference.
Right. So that actually is a huge part of the therapy, that it's a very education-based therapy. Like how I'm speaking now is not just because I am on a call. This is the education I share with my clients all the time, because one, I want to empower you that your body can change at any time, any age, any condition, that you don't have to live in pain, and that you can have a better well-being. And again, you're, like Patty was saying, you're a partner in this with me. So as we're going through the evaluation, I'm asking you questions. What do you notice here? What do you notice there? So you're also learning a new language, how to go inside and notice the different compensations or dysfunctions or things that are taking over in your body. So it's very much a partnership in the therapy.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm not like the magic wand person that has all the secrets and I don't tell you them. I actually want to share every single secret with you so you can heal your body all the time and you can become your own therapist. And just so you know, you may have gone to therapy 50 times. The most I usually see a client is 8 times. That's it, ever. Unless an injury comes up, they come back to see me, but then it's like, go ahead, you're good to go. So that's really just so you understand the mindset behind this method.
Cool.
Yeah.
Any other last questions before we wrap it up?
Oh, I have the promotion.
Yeah. You have. So
glasses. That's why I break glasses.
No. So we talked, and I said, you know, all these people I know, because I know a lot of them personally, and there's often ailments and complaints about the posture and what hurts and so on, and so she did a special offer for everybody here that actually is on my Chatting with Dancing. What? Chatting with Dancing. Chatting with Patty.
Time to dance.
I still miss it.
It's just a brain signal. You need to dance.
We're just gonna have a dance party next week, maybe. I don't know.
I think that's a good idea.
Yeah. So anyhow, she did do a special offer for us. So maybe you want to.
Yeah. So usually a posture evaluation is $175, and I'm giving everybody that's on Chatting with Patty 50% off. That evaluation, once we've walked it through, I also include your first menu that you would use for at least 2 weeks. So we have a software, and you get this software, and you get the actual program with the description and the time, and we go over that. And so that's the promotion. Instead of $175, it's 50% off. It's $87.50, and I can tell you it will be the best $87.50 you have spent ever. Because the amount of awareness you'll gain into your own body is fabulous. And we live with this all of our life. What should we put more value into?
So just to clarify what they're getting for that, because
so it's an evaluation.
An evaluation means?
Okay, an evaluation means it's one-on-one. I'm going to take your pictures. We're going to go through different tests, function tests, movement tests that I deem are necessary once I see you fully. Then once I do that, I am going to create a menu. Like Patty said, we call it a menu for you in particular for your first time doing posture. So usually after 2 weeks, we change that menu. But just with that one menu, you will find a ton of relief, a wonderful amount of awareness in the body. So I'm including a menu in that.
And Vedette, if you want to continue, is it $175 for each session then going forward?
It's not a session. It's 2 sessions actually, because I take your pictures, I do function tests, and then I come back. So we have 2 sessions together, and yes, it's $175. And if any of you, or is everybody American?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, because I'm a naturopath, so I do offer insurance receipts. I don't know if you're covered for that.
No, I mean the $175, once you're done with that evaluation and you get that menu for 2 weeks, if you need to continue, how does that work?
So it's the same price. It's $175.
For
And I
whatever
see you
session.
for two. It's
Twice.
two
I
sessions.
see. Perfect.
Because
Thank
I
you.
have to take your pictures again. We have to do some function tests again. We have to see the change, and then we create a new menu. I walk you through that new menu. And just so we understand this type of therapy, I'm not the therapist, and it's very much part again of how we're trained. We don't say, here you go and ciao, see ya. It's not like that. Actually, I have almost day-to-day contact with every single patient of mine, because the insight back and forth and the exchange back and forth allows me to really see what's going on in your body. So that's included in that 175 as well.
Perfect. Thank you.
Back and forth. My pleasure. My pleasure.
Thanks.
So I'm going to send all that information by email at her with where you can register for that if you're interested. So I will do that. It's at withvera.com if I remember correctly. If you just go there.
So you can go to my website withvera.com. If you want to follow some tips, Patty will send you my Instagram and my Facebook page. Every day I post different things on health and well-being, whether it's mindset, nutrition, posture, fitness. It's kind of like, again, it's my approach is a holistic approach, but the foundation is very much posture alignment.
Right.
Thank you.
Yeah.
My pleasure. Are there any other questions before we go?
Could you speak about supplementation, as an holistic approach? I'm sure there are some not medication, but supplements that are, good for the joints that you could recommend, that in addition to postural alignments, beneficial to the body?
Yes, that's a great question. So I'm not a supplement person. I have the knowledge. I understand what supplements are and what they do, but unfortunately, I go to the foundation. So if there is joint pain, there's inflammation. So first we talk about how much water do you have? How much movement do you have? What are the foods that you're eating? Do you buy organic foods? Do you eat greens? Do you know what is going on foundationally? How do you sleep? How do you think? Those things, we have to always touch the bases of things before we supplement, because unfortunately most supplements are made in factories that are polluting the world, and just we pee them out. So unless you have an amazing source, I do have somebody that I know that creates incredible supplements. But again, if you feed your body the proper foods, mindset, alignment, it will renew itself naturally. And those joints won't, I'm 50 years old, just so you know. I jump up and down, I do squats, I do boot camps, I do all kinds of stuff. I teach Zumba, do all kinds of stuff. I don't have joint pain. When I do, again, because I put posture into my daily regimen, it's a prevention, it's a way of preventing. So it's also a little bit of a mindset of, again, instead of looking at outside in, I'm going to fix inside out, So, omega-3s are always wonderful to have, but great foods have that. Wild salmon has that, eggs have a beautiful source of that as well. There's so many foods. And if ever you wanted to address nutrition, I do that as well. You could just, again, contact me through either of the ways, either through social media or email or phone number. Patty will supply you with all of that, and we could have a conversation. Anybody who wants to have a conversation, please feel free. We can have a conversation. If you have questions for me, I'm always available. I love answering people's questions on any aspect of health.
Thank you.
And if I don't know it, I'll refer you to somebody. There are things I don't know. A lot.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
Cool. So I guess that's it. Unless there's any other questions, this is your last chance, and it looks like they are
going once, going
twice. As 1, 2, 3, yes, Jason. Yes, as you've heard also from other people, she's very great. Everybody who spoke of her is because they've worked with her, and they came here to encourage her and let you all know that. And honestly, I brought her here because I tell her all the time, there's so many people in pain, Vera. There's so many people in pain. Every time I go to a studio, everybody's in pain. I wish I could tell them what you can and bring you with me everywhere. So I thought this was a great opportunity for those who know me to get to experience this. And the offer is really incredible. It is 50% off is huge. So, and again, you have nothing to lose, but to gain some extra knowledge, even if you just do the first one, it's something, So again, no pressure, but talk with her. She's cool. She's open. even if she's loud at times, we love her anyway. Because she's animated. She's passionate about what she believes in. Actually, she held back. I think she held back. I'm kidding.
It's a new layer of me.
Yes. All good. All good. So thank you so much for taking an hour and a half of your time with us. I really appreciate it. I didn't expect it to come this long, but thank you. Thank you all for coming.
Thank you.